Yes, get ready for legal dictation containing 480 words at the speed of 80 words per minute. 3 seconds. Start. However, in the wake of such grandiose assurances and brimming positively in the Indian political arena that dominated the media all through 2014, a little introspection regarding what went by and where we are today will not only help us in understanding our present standing better but also aid in keeping a tab of rights and the wrongs which need to be used as stepping stones for 2015 as the political force will continue to alter but the masses remain constant and the future of our democracy truly lies with them. India has the distinction of being the world's largest functioning democracy. Ever since her independence, India has been growing and developing through a democratic system of governance which involves self rule by the people, clearly implying that the citizens are the constituents of not only the country but the foundation of democracy on which the entire structure of our legal framework lies. Legal literacy is the core basis of the survival of our constitutional democracy. Our entire judicial setup functions on the presumption that all people are aware of their rights and are able to approach the concerned institution. The supreme law of our nation is the constitutional law, which is paramount and held as the highest and the ultimate authority that governs all the inhabitants living in the Indian democratic state. The main purpose of the laws so framed and presented in the Constitution is to safeguard, protect, and preserve the life of all citizens and to prevent the rights that such individuals possess from being infringed upon or harmed and hampered with in the course of their lifetime. The basic ground or the foundation on which laws, rules, and regulations were laid down was the agenda of protecting the rights of all and to ensure the well being, happiness, growth, expansion, and development of the society and the people at large, and simultaneously ensure that each person is able to successfully and peacefully live under the ambit of the law. To precisely put it, laws exist to serve the people and to achieve the ultimate end, which is welfare of one and all, and to attain the highest level of progress attainable for the nation. But the current state of affairs is grimly different from the aspirations and vision that the Indian judiciary and our forefathers had, because the advancement of India's legal framework has midway stalled due to the presence of impediments such as ignorance and lack of awareness about the existing laws and the available remedies in the legal system, which in turn bottlenecks the progress of our country. Lack of knowledge about the basic legal and civil liberties, human rights, constitutional directives, and other guidelines and principles that protect the dignity, liberty, and freedom of people manifests itself in the society in the form of problems such as child labor, human trafficking, etc., that threatens the safety of all. Stop. Now get ready for the general matter dictation containing 480 words at the same speed. Let's start. 3 seconds. Start. Sir, several questions raised regarding the Defense Ministry and the External Affairs and Irrigation Ministries have been clarified by my colleagues from those ministries. My task, therefore, has been simplified to that extent. Before I go to the questions, financial and economic, raised by several honorable members, I should like to clarify one or two points which are more administrative than economic or financial. One of them was raised by my honorable friend. He raised the question about the recruitment by the assistant superintendents, departmental competitive examination, and particularly about the examination held in 1960. He said that about rupees 6 lakhs were spent for the 1960 examination, and later it was declared that no vacancies were available. He therefore suggested that a definite procedure should be there and the examination should be held according to the vacancies declared in advance, and all persons who have qualified in that examination should be eligible for promotion or for appointment. Sir, I do not know whether the honorable member knows how these vacancies are filled. He probably refers to the section officer's grade in the Central Secretariat Service. This is filled 50% by direct recruitment and 25% by departmental competitive examination open to the assistants, that is the next lower grade, and the rest 25% by promotion of the assistants on the basis of seniority subject to fitness. The examination, therefore, that he was referring to was a departmental competitive examination for filling 25% of the vacancies. It takes about 1 year for the Union Public Service Commission to declare the results of the examination from the time they take up the question of the examination. It is not therefore possible to declare the number of vacancies to be filled in from the very beginning. To declare them just when the results are out is more realistic, and that is what is done. Sir, if the examination is treated as qualifying examination, the number of persons who will thus become eligible for appointment will be quite unrelated to the number of vacancies to be filled in, and then the very situation which the honorable member wishes to avoid would arise. It would not then be possible to hold any of the examinations at regular intervals, and promotions against this quota would become very fitful. Then we have another investment in collaboration with the Indian chemical industries for the manufacture of civil explosives. Here, as far as I have gathered, only 20% is going to be Indian capital. It would have been better if other companies and private individuals had been given an opportunity to purchase the shares. I do not know why the government are showing softness to foreigners in this matter. Stop over.